Great. I see us on YouTube. I also see us on Facebook. So let me check here. We will be getting started here in 1 second. I know I see a few of you already on here with us. So thank you for already joining. You can feel free to start engaging with the video with some reactions to it. You can also start commenting so we can see who is tuned in with us and give you some recognition and pull that up onto our screen. All right, well, let's jump right into this. I know we have a full plate of items that we want to get started on. So we'll begin talking, and as you start joining into the broadcast, you know the drill. Comment, engage with us so we can see you on here. Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone that's enjoying this beautiful non-snowy-ish day that we have. I am Juliette Abdel, your Westminster Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, and I want to welcome you back. It's a new year with our programs that are live broadcasts. We kick every week off with an elected official from our local level to give us updates of things that are going on in our city, on council, and be able to engage with you one-on-one. So if there's something of interest that you want to hear, feel free to engage with us and comment that so we can direct that conversation to that point that you might have. Now, if you are a first-time viewer with us, I want to ensure that you continue coming back to us. You can do that by liking this page, by hitting the notification alert that's on there as well if you're on Facebook. Now, if you're streaming this on YouTube, you can also hit the subscribe button, which will allow you to get notifications when we go live into the future. We are on all social media platforms. If you did not know this already, we're on Facebook, of course, here on YouTube. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at Westy Chamber. And our website directly is westminsterchamber.biz that has a host of information. If I can talk this morning, a host of information, not only on our programs and events, but resources and things that are going on in our community surrounding our businesses in particular. So for those of you who are coming back to us, which I see a number of you that are back with us, I thank you for always engaging on these broadcasts and also for hitting that share button on your end so others in your network can see that we're live this morning. Now, I'll go ahead and start pulling up these comments so you guys can get familiar with how this will work as a setup. We'll see not only the individual's profile picture, their name, and of course the comments. This very first one comes to us from our mayor, Mary Nancy McNally, giving us a nice good morning message. Thank you for tuning in. We also have Dave Carpenter providing us a good morning message to both Councilor Smith and myself. Hello to you, Dave. Thank you for tuning in. Glad that you're also well. I know that your home was kind of in that area that we had some of that pre-evac and even the evacuation around the fires, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. Our past chairman, Brian Head, is also enjoying this broadcast with us this morning. Appreciate you, Brian, for tuning in. And a Happy New Year to you as well. And then we also have with us Tara, who has been a part of our broadcast and engaged with us for well over a year, going on 2 years now. So we appreciate you, Tara, for being engaged as a resident in our community. So with that, I want to turn this over. Of course, I'm very excited to have Councilor Smith for the very first time with me on this live broadcast.
Yes, thank you, Juliette. Thank you for having me. I am excited to start off our business talks with the Chamber for 2022. it's going to take me a little bit to remember to put a 2 at the end of 2022. So,
Oh my God.
and I've seen all those memes going around where it says 2022
Oh gosh.
as in also, and I'm
Mhm.
like, please do not be 2020. We are
Agreed.
moving forward.
We are for sure. And as Councilor Seymour says, it's a good morning, Westminster. And to re-echo and emphasize Councilor Smith, it's a great morning to be kicking off our chamber broadcast and to also set the tone for this new year.
Yes,
So
moving forward.
yes, and you've got a lot on your plate. So before we hopped on here, I know you were sharing with me here are the number of things that you wanted to touch on, and I want to be mindful because I have you for a little while between your work schedule and serving on council and also your home environment. So let's just jump right into it and have you share a little bit of your updates. I'll try and capture those comments for folks in the comment section, and of course, reference some of the links that you make as well for us.
Yes, thank you. I know that kind of I go through my talking points with you, so I'm going to go through them right now with our community. But last week was a pretty tough time for all of our communities, as you mentioned. One of our constituents was who's on currently watching, was in that pre-evacuation zone for the Boulder Superior Louisville fires. And so we, on our Westminster City website, have at the very top of the website is a direct link into where residents, businesses, community members can help out with donating time or materials, services, donating funds, monetary funds if they have them, and then donate shelters. So the Airbnb, the VRBO, if you have a place that people can utilize while they're gathering their their next steps in setting a stable foundation for themselves, is all very needed. So noting the materials, the time, the funds, and household goods are all things that are needed because they just lost everything. And my heart, my prayers go to them. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Councilor Smith. We've included the direct link to the city website where you can find most of that information for those of you that are interested. And I'm also going to do a soft plug, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
As soon as the fires were happening and we were kind of resharing immediately alongside the city PD and our fire department what was going on and transpiring. So the morning right after, we had a number of our business members reach out and ask us, how can we support those victims? How can we lift them up and provide a helping hand? And so we immediately ran over and gathered as much information as we could, information that was sent into us. You can find that on our website as well. Now, the lists may be similar from the city and the chamber. You can always check both and pull out the information that serves you and is able to assist you with the service that you can provide to those victims of the fire. So just wanted to share that link for you as well if you are interested in community support around the wildfires. Both the chamber and the city have included some information on our websites around that.
Yes, and thank you for all of your help with that.
Yeah.
I know that it's hard when you have so many people wanting to lend a helping hand. There's so many avenues to do that. And so just taking a second to pause and say, how do we coordinate is the most efficient way.
Yeah.
So thank you for helping share that information. We appreciate it. Just wanted to move on to some community happenings, especially this week. We have Free Fitness Week in Westminster, and all of our fitness areas, so including the MAC, Westview, Recreation Fitness Center, all of them are free this week. So through the 7th, January 7th. So I invite you to go check those out and start on your New Year's resolutions if that includes that. I know mine doesn't. But it doesn't. But it's always been nice to go check out the facilities. I know specifically with City Park Fitness Center, they added an outdoor kind of CrossFit area. And so that's been, we use some of the federal funds through the pandemic to help create that outdoor experience. If you haven't checked it out, definitely definitely look into that. It almost looks like an adult playground, and that's
Oh,
something
that's
that
so
I would
funny.
want to go check out. So, but it is free this week through January 7th. Let's see. Our holiday lights for at the city center will be up through Friday, January 8th. And that's always one of my favorite things. I'm kind of sad that my lights in my house just came down, but I'm always sad that when Christmas and holidays are over, I'm super sad. But it goes through January 8th, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And we've included the link for you, and I'll reflash it. Councilor Smith just went through a whole number of facilities that are available to you at no cost for Fitness Week. That is included for you in the comment section to reference, find out the addresses, their hours of operation, so you can go. And as she shared, if it's a resolution, go out there and check it out. And if it's not, then it's just something for you to be aware of that's in our community. So if anyone is moving to the area, or friends that you might have that are trying to reach that goal, you can always direct them to some of those resources. It looks like I have Christine Wares is with us on here, giving us a nice Happy New Year our way. Hello to you, Christine. Hope business is doing well. We also have Emilio on here with a nice good morning message and a welcome into 2022. So appreciate all of our partners that are hopping on with us. We have Councilor Smith giving updates on all things in city, on our city council, and information and resources that are available to you as residents and business owners. Back to you, Councilor.
Awesome. Thank you. Noting into the 2022 special events, our cultural affairs team is finalizing the special events calendar. I hear it's going to be very robust, and maybe with some community events that are coming back that haven't been able to put on in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. So looking forward to those things for this upcoming year. And then tonight, we kind of touched on our study session for this evening, and we are looking at council engagement, and council will be reviewing and providing that input to staff for our 2022 community engagement plan. That plan is set to run from January to June of this year, and then we'll adjust and pivot and provide input from there as far as where we need to go, what we're doing. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, which it's for light reading over Sundays, right? It's definitely something that we want to hear from our residents on, and something that we're now connecting, hopefully, our community engagement survey in. So that will be all encompassing tonight, as well as talking about water-wise activities. And so Westminster was chosen along with, I believe, 3 or 4 other communities. I think Broomfield, City of Broomfield County was one, Greeley, Westminster, maybe one other, I think I'm forgetting, but we were chosen as part of a case study to work on water-wise activities for replacing the grass area on the northern end of Westminster City Hall. And as I was telling you, the park across the street, my nieces and nephew call it Peter Pan Park. I don't know if that's the official name. It's one of those where that becomes the official name, but they call it Peter Pan Park. But it's looking to maybe mirror some of that park with creating paths and adding community spaces like gazebos and such. So I'm looking forward to talking with my colleagues on what that looks like and how we move forward on whether or not that's the right rate of return for what we're looking for our community. It's an interesting plan, but something more that we should all be looking at discussing as far as does it really outweigh maintenance costs? Yeah. There is a maintenance cost to turf as well. There is a maintenance cost from adding gazebos and shelters and things like that. So there's always kind of is it the biggest bang for your buck? So So that is all encompassing tonight. We have a pretty busy schedule tonight, as usual.
Right, I know, and we talked about this right before we got on here. It seems like the last couple weeks, especially, have been very busy for our council, and we're very conscious that you all are spending your personal times and dedicating it to hours long of meetings. So thank you for doing that. I've included that link for folks, and I'll reflash it one more time for you. If you're interested in pulling up the agenda for this evening around the study session that Councilor Smith has referenced, you can always find the agenda and including any documents that they'll be reviewing in there. And I know there was a little bit of our sarcasm around it being a light read because it generally is very robust. And so take that time to hop on there and see it. But more importantly, they can still come out to City Hall. You guys are now open and back to your regular hours. So in person, virtual, all of that is still an opportunity at your or at your study sessions, or
all of it. Yep. It used to be before the pandemic that it was just an audio stream. And then study sessions were open to the public, but we rarely had attendance. But I'm glad that we're able to shift into this more modernized ability to touch everyone where they are at, where they're currently at. So I think that that's also important that we continue addressing community needs and meeting them where they're at. I'm glad that we're still in that virtual kind of space.
For sure, no doubt. Lori, I see you on here with us. Thank you for joining the broadcast. Councilor Smith, did you have any other items you wanted to throw out there before I start peppering you with some questions?
I do have some items. Steph had sent me a couple things for our business community. We have a small business grants that will be opening up in January, and they will open for scholarship and capital improvement grant programs. And this, as I'm understanding, is on the Westminster Economic Development website. And then they also have on January 25th, What Are My Capital Resources? It's a webinar. It's a free webinar for our business community. And then on February 8th, they have a digital marketing boot camp. It's in a 6 weeks course that will help develop the digital marketing strategy and plan if you're looking for more resources in that.
Yeah, so I will find those links and include them for you all, but I have included that in the comment section. The Small Business Grant Program has been one I know that we've utilized and several of our partners as well. And in fact, we launched a mastermind program. It was last fall. Based on the demand from our membership that combines kind of a professional development, branding, there's consultants, it's really robust. And a couple of those attendees in that program actually applied to the grant. So they applied to the grant, they were accepted by the city, and they had a good percentage of the costs covered because they had taken advantage of that. So it's a really great resource that's available. I also see Parker on here with us. Thank you, Parker, for joining us this morning. And then the webinars, I've included the January 5th date, and then there is another one that's the digital boot camp on January, that's the 28th. Is that right, Councilor?
Let's see. It's January 25th for the capital resources. Then February 8th is digital marketing boot camp.
Perfect. And if I'm not mistaken, that was one of our past chairmen that runs that program as well. So always great to see that collaboration where it makes sense. So we'll include those additional links for you for anyone that's interested in referencing those. Now, as you're hopping onto the broadcast, or if you've been on here with us already for some time and we haven't touched on a particular item or a topic that comes to mind, feel free to use this time to type that into the comment section for us. You can type in thoughts that you might have. You can also type in any maybe resolutions that you want to see the city do, or if you have any questions around the information that we shared, or maybe not around this information, maybe something else that you want to ask of Councilor Smith, feel free to comment that in there. Councilor Smith, I'll ask you, and this is just kind of a random one. I know I didn't really give you a heads up around this, but what are some of do you have some goals that you want to personally achieve? I know last year you weren't rerunning for office, like this was kind of, you were continuing the term that you've had. And you all as a council kind of came together to find some key priorities that our acting city manager, Andrew's it was a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
re-emphasized for folks, right? And he gave kind of, here's the broader themes that the council had found. But what are I would ask kind of from the personal side, what are some personal things that you're like, okay, this year I'm going to do this, more of, or I want to see more of this?
That's a good question. And I hate to say it in a personal matter because it takes 4 or more people to push something forward, or at least approve something. So I don't believe that it's personal, right? It should be community oriented and driven through community and businesses on what they want to see in their city. So I don't necessarily have a personal agenda. I know last year we went through a lot as a city and as a council, going through recalls, going through elections. And I think it was important for me to make sure that all of our charter and our ordinances are in alignment with what they should be. And we found through a variety of processes that they're not. And so part of what was on that ballot in November was making things so that they're updated and aligned more than they should be. And so I think that there's more work to be done in that regard to ensure that we are providing the best service for our community. But when it comes to a personal councilor matter, I'm looking forward to working with our colleagues on that strategic plan. And that's upcoming at the end of January. I think it's the last weekend in January that we're going to be working on that. But if you're asking for a personal matter, I've always wanted to do 75 hard.
Okay.
And, I just haven't had the time with my schedule. And so I'm going to get my mind right and I'm going to do it this year. It's a kind of a fitness and mental challenge.
Sure.
And so I'm really looking forward to jumping into that. I just don't know when.
Oh, I love it. Well, and this is going to be your accountability. You've said this out publicly, right? You've spoken it into existence. So now it's a matter of lining things up so you can make that happen. And that is all it starts with. It's that intention. And love the answer that you provided. You all are a cohesive team, or should be trying to work together to accomplish those larger goals for our community and everything. We did have a random question come up from Dave Carpenter. And when I say random, I mean, it's not entirely around any of what we've touched on, or even these items around resolutions, et cetera. But as you know, Dave is here as a resident of our community, very active in the community as well. And so he has a question, and this is, he says, because I'm so active, right? So this is where he's stating, I should know this, but I don't. Who can he go to report a burnt out streetlight? So there's apparently one that he wants to report out there, not throwing you under the bus by saying, give me the extension or the person's name.
But, you're in good company, David, because I should know this, but I don't. That is a lot of our kind of catch-all is our Access Westminster. And that is a direct link into the council members. And if you have a complaint, if you have a compliment, if you have a thought, if you have an idea, that Access Westminster is a place to go as far as reporting that. I just took note of it. So after this, I will hop on with our city manager and make sure that we get that addressed with staff. So thanks for bringing that to our attention. But that Access Westminster is kind of that catch-all opportunity to get all of us in the mix. So.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for that question, Dave. And Councilor Smith, thank you for taking that and running with it and coming back to us maybe with, here's who in the division of streets or what have you that might be doing that. And what we'll do, and what we always do, is if there's a question that you type in, whether it's right now and we're live or later on and we're no longer live, we still review those. We'll review any that are inboxed to us, and we comment that back into the broadcast so we can answer it for you. The next time we're live, I reiterate that that answer was taken care of. So know that we like to give you precise things instead of here's something that you end up going through a loophole and not actually getting an answer. So we'll try and get you that answer at a later point. What I'll do, since there's a few more minutes left, if you're okay with it, Councilor Smith, you're aware of the We Love Westy sweepstakes. I know you are because you've participated in it before as attending and not only seeing the live drawing, but even supporting some of our local businesses. That campaign is a partnership between the Chamber and the city. And we've launched it this year since Small Business Saturday on November 27th until today. So until today, January the 3rd. Wow. I know. So today is the last day. A lot of you've this broadcast was like one that you've picked. You're like, this is going to be full of so much great information. I want to take it up. So kudos to you for selecting this date. But today is the end of that campaign, and it ends right at 5 o'clock. And what we do is at 5, we'll release out the 3 numbers that are the winning ticket numbers for up to $5,000 in cash. And it's posted here on our Facebook page. We also posted on our Chamber of Commerce website. So I'll quickly flash that for folks. If you've never been to our page before, it's westminsterchamber.biz. But right around 5 o'clock, it might be 5:02, 5:03, depending on internet and when it posts, but around that time period, we will list out the 3 items. And it's $3,000 is the biggest prize. Then it's $1,500 and $500. So it's a lot of money that we give out. Fortunately, it's with our partnership with the city and of course with our businesses. They were giving out these cool tickets. Some were as big as this, some were like smaller. We just had variations from our printer this year. But if you have these tickets, pull them out. This is the time that you pull them out. And if you threw it out, then start digging through your trash and hold on to it. And what we'll do is we'll post it out around 5 o'clock. We'll wait and try and see who claims it. And if we don't have anyone claim specific prizes, so if no one claims the 500, for example, then we'll reiterate what this new number is for it. So we re-release up to 2 more times. So in total, 3 times to try and find winners. So it's a pretty big opportunity for folks, especially after you've used your credit cards a lot to get gifts for people, for holidays, for celebrations, for other things that you might have. This is the opportunity to try and recoup some of that.
That's great. I'm so happy y'all do that. And yes, I have participated in it before. It's very nerve-wracking though when you're like, gosh, am I the one? No, okay, not this
time. And then people, what they do is as soon as it's not, then they throw it out, and we're like, no, hold on to it, because we've gotten a couple times, and we've done a few variations from it before. We used to do it every 5 minutes we'd release, and then people were like, we don't have time. And so we adjusted it to this. And then I think this next year, we're going to do something a little bit different just to try and make people keep their tickets. Because I know if you're like me, I always I want to save this stuff and I put it in my purse and then it crumbles up. And then at the end of the week, I'm throwing the stuff out of my purse and not even checking what it was that got crumbled up.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. All right. I see Tiffany on here. Thank you for joining, Tiffany. I know that you're joining a little bit later, but this broadcast will be on at any point in time for you to rewatch, rewind. You can always hit the share button on it. If you've got questions for our counselor, even long after we are live, you can always DM the page or DM on this video in particular. Are you asking people to also contact you as well, Councilor Smith? And if so, is there an area that you want them to be sent to, or is Access Westminster where you want to be pointing?
I think Access Westminster, like I mentioned, it's a good catch-all, and it starts a process for not only for council, but for our staff, because it captures it in the system, and then they're able to take care of it and make sure it gets to the appropriate person, and then it becomes, not that it doesn't become a record anywhere else, but it becomes an official record as far as capturing in that catch-all system. So
for sure. And that link I've included in here, I know it's really long, but you guys can click on it. And when you do, it'll open up the page that talks about Access Westminster. It lets you sign in. If you've signed in before, if it's a newer item, or if it's a particular topic, you can actually break it down like that. But as Councilor Smith is sharing, this is a nice way for you to have not record, but almost like a trail, right? Where you've started the process of something and you're able to follow up on it, as opposed to, trying to reach out by phone and maybe you're not getting something and you don't know who you've left a message to. It may not be the right person, etc. So that link is included. I thank everyone for being on here with us. And once again, Happy New Year to you for spending a Monday morning with us, for getting back and right engaged into things, and for doing your part to support those that were affected, of course, by the recent fires. Information around that is included in the comment section, both on the chamber website and the city website. We've included resources for how you can provide time, resources, funding, whatever you might have that you can apply toward those that have been affected by those fires. And Dawn, thank you for that message of a Happy New Year. I saw you sneak in there. Councilor Smith, I appreciate you being on here with me. I know I've peppered you with a few questions over at the end of this broadcast, but you wrapped everything out really well for us. And I know that you'll come back to us with an answer for Dave, but I appreciate you fitting this into your schedule and making this happen today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye.